Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a lovely week so far. I hope you're all healthy, staying strong, and having some fun in life. Students, in this class we are looking at IELTS speaking part 3. And we are doing the Band 9 follow-up of the previous class, which was speaking part 2, of course. For speaking part 2, we covered a topic about an event or a schedule that we had to change or cancel. Hopefully many of you were here for that class. If not, don't worry. This class will still make perfect sense even if you missed that last class. Welcome, Carolina, our chat moderator. Hi. Welcome, Kyber and Rashika. Good to see our members in the class ready to learn. Welcome, Banjara. Nice to see everybody here with me today. Today's lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com as well as gieltshelp.com. For academic IELTS success, please visit us at aehelp.com. It's this blue background here, this website. Click this big red button to join the premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. It costs about 1/10 of your official IELTS exam, and it will guarantee you the best chance to get a high band score. So it's well worth it. Again, one-time payment, lifetime access. We are an official IELTS test registration center and certified agents. Our general IELTS website looks like this with the green background. Click this big red button to join us there. We are going to use these websites today to chat with students. These websites have speaking practice options. You can chat for free, video, audio chat with other IELTS students. So we're going to use that lots today for some Part 3 speaking practice, everyone. So make sure you register some accounts there. Students, we basically are the world's most popular IELTS learning platform. We help thousands of students every day. Our apps are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help, so grab those from your app store. Install them, link them to your web accounts for some really good learning. Welcome, Cass. You can follow us on Instagram, IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help. We've got lots of vocabulary tips, schedules on our Instagram profiles. And if you just have a question that you can't find the answer for on the websites or on Instagram, then you can simply just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. Students, we've got classes tomorrow and on the 25th, so studying right through Christmas. That's right. For those of you celebrating Christmas, happy holidays coming up. These are the IELTS speaking part 3 questions for today. Okay, so we talked about canceling and rescheduling, so it's no surprise that the topic of part 3 is talking more about time management. So managing your time. We're going to get into this right away. So I'm going to give you tips and strategies as we work through these questions. We're just going to do one question here together, and then I will start calling some students. I want to give lots of chances for practice in this class, everyone. So just one tip to start you off. When you're answering your speaking part 3, make sure to include an answer, an explanation, and an example. Okay. And of course, if you can, connect to part 2, okay? So remember part 2 and connect to part 2. Remember your part 2 planning and your part 2 ideas, and connect to part 2. Okay, so these are the 2 strategies I'm going to start you off with for today, and then we'll work through these and add some more as we progress in the class, okay? All right. Everybody, let's get right into it. So the examiner says, okay, that is the end of part 2. Now we'll continue with part 3. For part 3, I'm going to ask you some questions related to your part 2 response and that topic. Here we go. What are the advantages and disadvantages of scheduling activities in a calendar? Okay, so what are the advantages and disadvantages of scheduling activities in a calendar? Keep it simple, okay? So I'm going to give an answer, you give an answer, we'll compare, and then we'll talk some strategies, okay? So a lot to do in the week. All right, so here's my answer. What are the advantages and disadvantages of scheduling activities in a calendar? Again, this is a speaking class, everyone, so make sure that you speak and repeat. So my answer is, I believe that some benefits of marking activities in a calendar are organization and preparedness, because it is easy to miss out on fun activities when people forget about them because they do not record them. However, the disadvantage may be stress, as a person can see that they have a lot to do in the week. I know I get quite stressed when I see that I have a lot of work in my calendar. All right, let's see what Kyber is writing for us. Okay. Kyber says, the benefit of planning activities to perform at a specific time is that it makes the individual more reliable, as well as helps them to chase goals and block some time for these. While the disadvantage of scheduling is that life is unexpected, just because every unexpected event can happen. Like, I planned to go on a fishing trip, as I mentioned earlier, but that heavy storm took place. Kyber, really nice and a really good connection to part 2. I love it. Okay, fantastic, Kyber. A couple of grammar mistakes, a couple of words that are not necessary, but overall a very, very good answer. All right, Simran says, there are various merits and demerits of scheduling activities in a calendar. Like, when there is an important activity, we want to remember it and mark it in the calendar. It helps us a lot. All right, Simran, I can see where you're going with it. Good, you're missing the explanation for the negative part, but you're on the right track. Okay, that's fantastic. So you're answering the question accurately. Mal says, the benefits of putting activities in a calendar are that I will likely remember them and meet the deadlines and modify them without forgetting details and points. However, the disadvantages, very good, Mal. So you've got the advantages. Make sure you also answer the disadvantages part, okay? So there are lots of disadvantages too. You just have to be clever. So one disadvantage is stress, right? If you have a calendar that's full of activities like studying, working, washing the dishes, chores, it can get really stressful. Also, when you have your calendar planned for the next year, as some people actually do, then it makes life a little bit less exciting, right? It can, because there's less spontaneity, there's less surprise in life. So that could be another negative. Life is maybe a little bit less surprising when everything is planned in a calendar or all activities. Okay, so really good, students, really, really good. All right, that's a good start. Okay, so now, students, for the remainder of the class, I will interview other students, and I'll ask just one question, give you feedback on your answer, and give you strategies also while doing it. So pay attention to each other, pay attention to the mistakes. Mistakes are often very common among IELTS candidates. That means if one student is making the mistake, likely many other students are making the mistake as well. So here are the steps for volunteering to have some speaking with me in this very class right now. The first step is to register a free or paid account at aehelp.com. So it can be a free account. You can click on the try demo or try free, the green button, and it's a free account. There's no catch there. You log into your My Student account. Okay, I'm going to show you this in a minute. I'm just explaining it first. You click on the Student Partner Speaking button. This is where you can actually talk to other IELTS students as well, so not just me, and I will be looking for students from our General English Help channel as well. Rumi, if the writing is blurred, it's on your end, okay? It's your side, all right? This is a really important one, students. Make sure you enable your microphone and your speaker, all right? You can't communicate with me or other students if you don't enable your microphone and your speaker. Keep the window open and message me in the class. So message me, actually not in the class, but message me in the chat, okay? So you'll see that little blue envelope, and that's what you want to do, okay? And keep the window open, don't close it, because that's your chat window, just like as if you're using Skype or WhatsApp, all right? And so here we go, everyone. Let me show you the steps now in actuality. Here we go. So this is aehelp.com. You can register a free account by clicking this green button, or you can register a paid account, which I highly recommend, by clicking this red button. Once you do that, you will have a My Student account, which is again right above my head there, above the 789. So you click on the My Student account. In your My Student account, you'll find the computer-based IELTS practice exams, lesson videos, audio CDs, writing services, and then you find this Student Partner Speaking. If you like the Student Partner Speaking and you want to actually book a full IELTS mock interview with me, you can click on this Speaking Interview Practice button, but right now we're using this Student Partner Speaking. So you click on that. Now you get this little pop-up window, and this is basically a window that says, you know, you accept that you're of age and you're going to speak nicely. So you're going to be polite while using this interface, and you're using it for IELTS, okay? All right, so you click on this I accept, start speaking, and then you're redirected to this window. And in this window, you'll find lots of other students. Mijanur is in here, Bandita is in here, Ruslan, Anna, Shayaike, Loon, Maiwan, Mehmet, Fatma. So we've got lots of students in here, and I'm sure we're going to have lots more joining. So students, once you're in here, all you need to do is just click this little blue envelope. That means you're going to message me. Send me a message that says, I want to volunteer. Okay? So just click on that. Click on, you'll find me, by the way, under master. Okay, it's just the way we program the website. It's not that I'm your master. So yeah, just master, okay? That's my name. I can't see my name, of course, because I'm in here, but yeah, here you go. So if you want to reach out to me, then you want to message master, click on the little envelope, and then send me a message, and I will connect with you, and then I will ask you a speaking part 3 question. I will analyze your speaking, okay? So yeah, master is the one that you want to click on. Maybe I'll change that. I don't want to change it to Adrian because it might not always be me, so master is kind of easy to identify, okay? Teacher, maybe, a little bit, or examiner. I could do that, I guess, change it to examiner. All right. Okay. All right, everyone. So waiting for some volunteers. I think we have one here already. Loon, let's see. Loon says, hi, I'm in. Okay, Loon, awesome. Would you like to volunteer? All right, Loon was the first one out of the gates. That's an idiom. To be the very, very first to take action. First one out of the gates. It comes from horse racing, that idiom. So if you like horse racing, there's a good horse racing idiom there. Okay, so Loon says, yes, please. All right, I better get my headset on. Otherwise, I won't be able to hear you. Okay. All right, Loon, here we go. So I'm now calling Loon. To hear you. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, Loon.
Right, Loon, here we go. Okay.
I'm now calling Loon, can you mute your YouTube so we're not getting feedback through your speakers?
Okay, I wear earphone.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, headset is great because then you won't get feedback.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, it's perfect. I know it's a surprise, right? Because you have two sounds coming, one from me through the chat and one from me through YouTube. So, yeah, that's totally fine.
In the same time.
Okay, Loon, so thank you for being our first volunteer for today. That's fantastic. Loon, may I ask, where are you in this big, beautiful world?
I normally from Taiwan right now.
Okay, so are you in Taiwan right now?
Yeah, it's midnight. Yeah.
Wow, you're burning the midnight oil, as they say in English, right? It's an idiom that means
yeah, I'm gonna test next month.
Okay, you have an IELTS coming up next month?
Yeah, definitely.
And why are you taking the IELTS exam?
Maybe study abroad in Vancouver.
Oh, wow, okay, so you'll be my next door neighbor. No, it's still all right. I'm in Victoria.
I hope so.
All right. Okay, good for you. Okay, so I will ask you a part 3 question. Give me an answer. Make sure to include an explanation, an example if you can. And then I will analyze your speech. I will give you a score estimate based on that one question and then give you some feedback. Does that sound good?
Sounds great, definitely.
Okay, so here we go. How have ways people remind themselves of their appointments changed from a generation before?
For me, I remember the generation will teach their children. For example, my parents always teach me to study so hard. In the future, you will earn a great job in the company. Yeah, so definitely, I think the parents always teach you something to their children. Not only in the society, but also in your family. Yeah. So sometimes children always learn a lot from their parents. Maybe in the Chinese New Year, they will say something, the lucky word, to their children.
Why is it effective? Okay, so at this point, the examiner would likely interrupt you because it kind of seems like you're just talking without a finish, Luna. So you do have to make
Yeah.
sure that you finish what you're saying, okay? So otherwise, the examiner will interrupt you because they have to cover at least a few questions. So my first
Mm-hmm.
tip, Luna, is just be really certain that you give an answer, explanation, and an example. Okay. All right. So your band score estimate would be a 4.5 at this point. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll explain why. First of all, you don't clearly answer the question. So the question is,
Mm-hmm.
how have ways people remind themselves of their appointments changed? So this question is basically asking you, Loon, like, how do you remind yourself now that you have an appointment, like you have to go to the doctor, or that you have to go to school, or you have a meeting? So how has this changed the way that you remind yourself of the appointment? How has this changed compared to a generation before? So compared to the way our parents reminded themselves that they have a doctor's appointment. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so always really pay attention to the topic of part three. Again, it's going to be connected to part two. And this part three is all about time management. So that gives you
Mm-hmm.
a hint. Even if you're having a little bit of trouble understanding the exact question, you can kind of guess that it has something to do with time management. So something to do with the way people manage their time. Okay, so even if you
Yeah.
think about like how has time management changed now compared to a generation before, and you answer that question, you're still going to be answering the correct question. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I
Okay.
think you
Yeah.
were answering more about like how parents influence kids' activities or time in the day, and that's a different question. So even if you have perfect English, but you're answering a different question, your mark is going to be very low. So the first and
Okay.
most important step is always to make sure that you're accurately answering the question. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right.
I confuse the meaning.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're not 100%
Yeah.
sure, you might even want to ask for the question to be repeated. Like you can say, sorry, I didn't catch
Yeah.
that clearly. Can you repeat that? And usually you can do that once, no problem, or maybe even twice, and the examiner will repeat the question. It's still better than giving an off
Yeah.
topic answer. Okay? All right, so I'll give you an example answer for this one, and then you can repeat it, but just let me type it out, okay? So the way
Okay.
people schedule has changed a lot from 30 years ago, because 30 years is about a generation, right? 30 years
Yeah.
ago, back in the 90s, uh, people still used pen and paper to remind themselves of appointments. But these days, people have been, and I'm using present perfect here, Loon, because the question is present perfect. So how have ways people remind themselves? So these days, people have been using technology to remind themselves, such as Google Calendar. Uh, in fact, I use Google Calendar, or I used Google Calendar to schedule my annual fishing trip. The reason why I'm saying annual fishing trip is because we just did part two, the last class, and we talked about a fishing trip. So it's good to connect to the fishing trip, okay? All right, I'll read this
Okay.
answer and then I'll ask you the question again and then just repeat the answer, okay? So the way people schedule has changed a lot from 30 years ago. Back in the 90s, people still use pen and paper to remind themselves of appointments, but these days people have been using technology to remind themselves, such as Google Calendar. In fact, I use Google Calendar to schedule my annual fishing trip. Okay, so here's the question one more time. How have ways people remind themselves of their appointments changed from one generation before?
The way people schedule has changed a lot from the 30 years ago. Back in the people still use pen and paper to remind themselves of appointment. But 3 days, people, but these days, people has been using the technology to remind themselves, such as Google Calendar. In fact, I use the Google Calendar to schedule my annual vision trip.
Much, much better. So if you were to speak like that, you would be getting a band 7 to 7.5 for sure. You still need to work a little bit on your grammar accuracy and pronunciation, but that's much better. So what you want to do when you're studying is really pay attention to the questions, give the answer, record yourself, then listen to the recording, write down what you said, and make some corrections. Okay, Loon?
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you. Very, very useful.
You're very, very welcome. Keep it up. And Loon, if you want some like full IELTS practice with me, just use that yellow button on the website, okay? The speaking interview practice when you feel ready for like a full speaking interview, okay?
Okay, thank you. You're helpful. Yeah.
You're very welcome, Loon. Keep up the good studies, and I hope you have a very good night in Taiwan.
Okay, see you.
Okay,
Good
bye-bye.
night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, so that was Loon, everyone, and please give Loon an applause. He was very brave to share his English with the world, and he deserves your praise. So give him an applause and a thumbs up in the chat. He did a good job. All right, and that's what you want to do. Okay, we're going to take somebody else for another question. We have, let's see, we've got lots and lots of volunteers, which is fantastic. I'm always looking for some new volunteers as well. So I can see that I've got lots of messages from Ruslan. Let me reach out to Ruslan and see if Ruslan says hi, Master. All right. Very good, Ruslan. So let's see if Ruslan would like to volunteer for a question. Would you like to volunteer for a question? Yes, I get all the highs, Ruslan. Don't ping me too much, students, and I'll get all these ringing in my ear. Okay, so let's see if Ruslan is there, and if we can reach out to Ruslan. Okay. All right. Let me ring Ruslan here, because it looks like Ruslan's typing away. So here we go. Okay, so trying to connect here with Ruslan. Let's see if we can get a hold of Ruslan. Again, students, make sure you enable your speaker and your microphone for the website. It's the only way I can connect with you. All right, we'll come back to Ruslan at a later time. Fatma, I see that you're there, but I know we did a little bit of speaking the other day, so I'll try to catch you in a bit. Okay, Ruslan says, yeah, definitely. Ruslan, I'm trying to call you. I'll give you another shot, okay? So let me give you one more shot here, Ruslan, and see if I can get you, okay? So I'm trying to be very fair, and hopefully we can connect with Ruslan. Hi, Ruslan. Are you there? Seems like you answered the call, but I can't hear you. Again, you do have to check your internet connection, everyone. Make sure your connection is good. Also, make sure you're in a country that doesn't have restrictions on chat software, such as Skype or WhatsApp. Okay. Ruslan, I can't hear you, so I think that there's something on your end that's limiting the conversation. Again, make sure to enable in your browser settings, check your microphone settings. Students, you can always check with other students as well, this chat interface, to make sure you have everything set up right. So Ruslan, we'll come back at a later time, okay? All right. Let's try Rupinder here. So Rupinder says, I'd like to volunteer. Okay, let's try Rupinder. Are you ready? All right. Hopefully we can get a hold of Rupinder. Just be patient, everyone. Usually this works fairly smoothly. All right. So Rupinder, I'm reaching out to you now. Hopefully Rupinder is available. Yeah, and if you're volunteering, students, please don't leave your station because it might take a minute to get to you. So be patient, okay? All right. Okay, so while we're waiting for Rupinder, I'll reach out to. Let's reach out to Fatma. Oh, I'm just calling Fatma. Hi, Fatma.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Okay, Fatma, can you just mute the YouTube so we're not getting feedback?
Yes, I am.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, that was kind of a surprise call. I just actually clicked the call button instead of the chat button by accident, but I'm glad you picked up. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I hear you closing the door and some children playing in the background.
Yeah, I'm a mother of little kids, so close the door so they don't follow me.
So life is usually busy.
Now I came to another room. Okay.
All right,
Great.
that's great. Thank you for creating a good environment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, Fatma, so I will ask you a speaking part 3 question. Give me a nice full sentence answer to the best of your ability, okay? Once you feel like you've answered the question, just stop. So always give the examiner the opportunity to go to the next question, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, so again, just a reminder, we're talking about time management in this part 3, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here we go. Why is effective time management especially important in school and work?
I believe effective time management is essential in school and work because you're able to do all or meet all your deadlines. For example, assignment submissions. So if I have a calendar or I mark my deadlines for assignment, I will be able to submit them on time. Also with work, I understand that, and I believe that there's many deadlines a worker or any you can say a manager in any position need to meet. So by time management, he will be able to fulfill all those deadlines. For example, if there's an important meetings with another agency, so if with effective time management, the manager or the worker in whatever talking about any organization or association like a bank, for example.
Can you give examples? So I have to interrupt you, okay, Fatma? So you have to get to the point a little bit quicker. The good news, Fatma, is you're doing a really good job answering the question. So you're giving me all of the right information answering the question, but you're taking too much time and you're taking too many words. So you're being too long. You just need to be more concise, okay? In this way, the examiner is going to give you like a band 7, okay? But they'll keep interrupting you, and if they keep interrupting you, it might actually make you frustrated, confused. You might miss a question, and then you might even lower your score to 6.5 because you start to get into problematic situations, and you don't want that because really, I think, Fatma, that your IELTS speaking should be at least a band 7.5, maybe even a band 8. Okay, but to get that band 7.5 and band 8, you have to be more concise. It means just shorten your answer. So say all of the information, just keep it shorter. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. So let's first take a look at your response. Okay, so the question was, why is effective time management especially important in school and work? And then you said, I believe effective time management is essential in school and work And that was a really good way to start because you're using the question, and instead of the word important, you used the word essential, which was nice paraphrasing. So you're showing me that you know the meaning of both of these words and you've got dynamic vocabulary. That's really good. And then suddenly you switched to the second person voice. You said, you are able to. Okay, try to avoid that in your speaking. So try to avoid, in professional speaking especially, avoid using the second person voice, which is talking about the other person when the question isn't really about them. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so instead of you need to find the more accurate noun. Okay, so here we could say, I believe effective time management is essential in school and work because people. Okay, so people is much better, but there are better nouns than people. What would be a better choice of noun than people in this context?
Students.
Exactly, because students are the ones in school, right? And what would be the other one?
And employers.
Or employees, right? Employees are the workers. Employers are okay too because they're working too, but employees would be better. So the best would be
Employees.
yeah, students and employees. And now, because you're not using the word you, you're also giving me more vocabulary. So I can give you more vocabulary marks, right? So do you see why that word you is such a dangerous kind of trap in speaking, right? So that's the word those are the words that you want to use. So now you can say is essential in school and work because students and employees are able to meet all of their deadlines, right? You see how that just sounds a lot more professional when we replace that you? And then you said assignment submissions, which is okay. It's a little bit repetitive. And then you said, so I have a calendar, and I mark my deadlines. Now you're switching back to first person, okay? And you don't need that. So this is, you kind of learn this in writing, and this is especially important for writing task 2, is you have first person, second person, and third person voice in communication. And this is true not just in writing, but also in speaking. So first person voice is I, me, my. You're talking about yourself. Second person is you, yours, yourself. Us and we is kind of second person as well. So you're talking about the person you're talking to or the audience you're talking to. And then the third person is the general voice. That's like people, employees, students. So you really have to control those voices in professional writing and professional spoken communication. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so work on that because the more you can control that, the better your communication, and not just for IELTS, but in everyday life as well, okay? Right? Okay, so I would just take this part out. So I have calendar and I mark my deadlines. Okay, and then you said also at work, I believe there are many deadlines. And then again, you said you can say a manager has to meet deadlines for workers to make sure that the company earns money and stays competitive. And then instead of saying, for example, don't say for example, because if you're, have you seen that video on our YouTube channel where I tell students not to say for example?
No, I didn't.
Okay, check that out. So there's a video on the channel, and it's an HD video. It's not a live class. It's a high definition video, and you'll see on the thumbnail and the title. Just do a search. Like even if you do a search, like don't say for example in IELTS. If you do that on Google or on YouTube, you'll find this video. It's a very popular video, and basically I tell students not to do that because especially when you're speaking for a longer time, like what you just did, and then you say for example. At that very point, it's like the examiner will for sure interrupt you because they feel like, oh, they're talking for so long and now they're starting an example, I have to stop them, right?
Okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, now I get that.
Right? You would do the same. So if we reversed our roles, you would do the same to me, right? Like if
Yeah,
I'm saying like all of this information before about time management and deadlines and people and myself, and then I go, and for example, you'd be like, whoa, 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 just stop there. Okay, let's go to the next question, right?
yeah,
So
I can see that now, you know.
yeah,
But when you're
exactly.
doing it, you don't feel it, you know.
Yeah, when you're on a roll, like when you're giving the answer and you're on a roll, it's really hard to catch yourself and be like, oh, okay, I gotta like really just hold back here a little bit, right? So instead of, for example, you can say um, something much. You can give the example right away and just be really clever. Like you can say, one of my colleagues got fired last week for not scheduling work tasks. Okay, so that would be a very quick example without saying for example, and it would emphasize your point, okay, of how important that is in the workplace. So let me now read the band 9 response, and then you can copy after. I'll read the question, and then you can copy it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sound good.
Okay, cool. So here we go. So I believe effective time management is essential in school and work because students and employees are able to do or meet all of their deadlines, assignment submissions. Also at work, I believe that there are many deadlines for workers to make sure that the company earns money and stays competitive. One of my colleagues got fired last week for not scheduling their tasks. Okay, why is effective time management especially important in school and work?
I believe effective time management is essential in school and work because students and employees are able to do or meet all of their deadlines, assignment submissions. Also, at work, I believe that there are many deadlines for workers to make sure that the company earns money and stays competitive. One of my colleagues uh, got fired last week for not scheduling work tasks.
Okay, that was much better, Fatma. So that's what you want to focus on. And I promise you that when you start to train your thinking to follow this process, you'll get really good at it and you get a really high band score, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. It just takes practice. Believe me, it just takes practice. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for volunteering, and thank you for showing a lot of these kind of classic mistakes that students make when they're at your band level at this 657, and that stops them from getting that band 8. So thank you again for volunteering. That was really, really good, and keep up the good work. Bye for now, Fatma.
Bye. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Okay, everyone, so that was Fatma. Give Fatma an applause and a thumbs up because she was really brave. I mean, can you imagine? She has 3 children. She's doing the IELTS. She's keeping busy. So obviously a very productive and hardworking individual. And that's what it takes for a great life. So follow Fatma's example. That was really, really good. Okay, so let's see. We have some more volunteers, and Carolina's helping me out a little bit here. I saw, Carolina, that you said Bakrat would like to volunteer. Okay, Bakrat, I'm going to reach out to you. Bakrat is one of our longtime members of our YouTube channel. It pays to be a member. We do kind of give members a little bit of an edge or advantage. So hi, Bakrat, would you like to volunteer? And Carolina is my right hand, so if you're speaking with Carolina, she is able to get a hold of me. So thank you, Carolina, for giving me the heads up. So I'm just reaching out to Bakrat. Hopefully Bakrat is still with us, and then I can ask Bakrat a question here. So let's see if Bakrat is available. Bakrat, if you can hear me, I'm here for you. I'll be watching for you. Just ping me. Say, yes, I'm still here. Let's do this. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll look back, Carolina, and see if there was anybody else who's been really pushing for volunteering as well. Meanwhile, we'll give Bakrat a little bit. Oh, there we go. Bakrat just said, yeah. Okay, Bakrat. Sounds like a plan. So here we go. Let me reach out to Bakrat. Bakrat, I'm going to call you right now.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing good, Bakrat. How are you doing?
Uh, I'm good. I just practiced with one of the uh, IELTS aspirant.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds awesome. So we'll get right into it, okay? I'll ask you a question. Give me a full sentence answer. Again, when you feel like you've finished, make sure to stop, right? So we really have to avoid being interrupted by the examiner. That's not an ideal situation. So it's not a great situation to be interrupted. And of course, in real life, that usually doesn't make for a good conversation. So, um, okay, so here we go. All right, so a little bit of a change up. Pay attention. Here we go. Let's talk about being organized. Some people
Okay.
feel it is important to have a very organized home, while others feel that it is a waste of time. Why is there this difference in people's beliefs?
Well, I believe organizing uh, events or in a party, it's a good idea because it allows to set up all the things uh, before planning. And I definitely believe that organizing uh, uh, events was a
What kinds of
party.
things do people need to? So I'm interrupting you, Bakrat, and don't take offense
Okay.
to that. So
Oh,
one reason why the examiner will interrupt a student is because they're talking too much and they've already answered the question and they're just repeating themselves. Another reason
mhm.
that the examiner will interrupt is when they realize that you're not actually answering the question that they're asking you. So if that happens in
Okay.
the exam, you should realize that, oh, I maybe if they interrupted me so quickly, and that's usually how you know that the examiner asked you a different question is they interrupt you very quickly, so they don't even give you a chance to really finish your first sentence, and they're already interrupting you. That means that the question was different. So you have to pay more attention to the next question, and if you don't understand it, you have to ask them to repeat it. Okay. So let me ask this question again. I was asking you a little bit of a different question. You started talking about an event, like organizing a party, but that's not what I was actually asking you. So pay attention to the noun in the question, Bakrat, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so here we go again. Some people feel it is important to have a very organized home, while others feel that it is a waste of time. Why is there this difference in beliefs? Did you catch what we're organizing here, Bakrat?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, okay, good. There you go. So that's what you want to do when you're not sure, okay? So some people feel it is important to have a very organized home, while others feel that this is a waste of time. Why is there this difference in beliefs?
Okay. I believe that uh, to have a very organized home, it's a great of idea because set up in all the item in a home at a separate space, which allow a person to get all the item from uh, from that place. And it also one of the benefit that we can also visit it at that place one by one to catch anything. Uh, in my home, uh, my library room where all the books and most of the weight books are collected there, and one by one, my brother and my other siblings went there and read all those books every
Okay,
morning.
stop, right? You don't want to go too far with the example because then you'll get interrupted, right? So you want to avoid that interruption.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so that was much better. So you got it, right? So it took a couple of tries, but you got the question, and that's exactly what you want to do in the real exam is you want to catch the right question because now you can get band scores. If you're not giving the right answer, your band score will just it'll nosedive, like it'll be like a meteor falling to the ground, okay? So you have to answer the right question. All right. Now, you have to have a good explanation, and that was missing here a little bit, right? Like, you realize that, okay, it's good to have an organized home, right? Why is it good to have an organized home? So keep it simple. Keep your ideas simple. If I have an organized home, why is that good?
Uh, like it's better to look good.
It looks better, right? So when you have guests or people visiting, then they feel more comfortable, right? So that's what all you want to say. So an organized home is more comfortable for having guests or having visitors. That's one reason, absolutely. Another reason, and it's a simple one, right? So keep it simple, is it's easier to find your belongings. So if you have an organized home, it's easier to find your shoes when you're trying to leave or your keys, right? When people have a disorganized home, they're always spending a lot of time looking for different items. Okay, so keep your thoughts simple, okay? Now, the other side, because this question has two parts, right? So this question is also saying that some people feel it's a waste of time to keep the home organized. Why do you think that is? So why do you think some people feel it's a waste of time to keep the home organized?
I think they think that it requires lots of time to
Exactly.
organize. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes a lot of time that they could use for other more fun activities. So always putting your shoes in the same spot, always folding your clothes or making your bed takes a lot of time and it's wasting life. We can just go out and enjoy the company of our friends, have a cup of tea with someone instead of wasting time that way. So that's the other side, right? Okay, so
That's good.
that's what you want to answer. So that's what you want to put together. So you said, okay, well, I believe that to have a very organized home is a great idea. I'm fixing some of your grammar. Is a great idea because, okay, let's take all of this out. Remember the because for giving the explanation. Because this allows a person to find belongings easily. Like their shoes and keys. Okay, and then you switch to the other side right away. However, other people feel that organizing the home can be a waste of time and life should be enjoyed instead. And then you can just give a really smooth example. So my friend's home is a disaster because he never cleans and puts away his things, but he always has time to hang out. Okay, so just like that. So again, answer, explanation, example, and then that's it. Make sure you cover both sides of the question. So I'll read this answer, I'll read the question, and then you repeat, okay? Here we go. So, okay, well, I believe that to have a very organized home is great because this allows a person to find belongings easily, like their shoes or keys. However, other people feel that organizing the home can be a waste of time and life should be enjoyed instead. My friend's home is a disaster because he never cleans and puts away his things, but he always has time to hang out. So some people feel that it is important to have a very organized home, while others feel it's a waste of time. Why is there this difference in beliefs?
Okay. Well, I believe that to have a very organized home, it's a great because it allow a person to find their belonging easily, like their shoes, keys, and some music instruments. However, other people feel that organizing the home can be a waste of time. Life should be enjoyed instead. One of my friend home is a disaster because he never cleans and put away his thing, but he always has time to hang out.
much better. Okay, so that's what you want, much more collected, much more accurate answer. Bakrat, keep that up, okay? And again, remember, the worst situation is giving an answer that is off topic. So even asking for the question to be repeated if you're not 100% sure is much, much better, okay? So really pay attention to those nouns and subjects in the sentence,
Yeah,
okay?
initially I didn't catch up uh, what I'm going to answer, and I just like take a look on, just take a glance, and then I answer. I
Yeah.
should read the questions twice at least.
Yeah, be very careful with the question. Absolutely. Okay, Bakrat, thank you so much for volunteering. Keep up the good studies. Thank you for being a member for so long of our channel, and have an awesome rest of your day.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, bye, Bakrat. Okay, so that was Bakrat, everybody. All right. Okay, everyone, so this is the chat interface on our website. You can speak with each other. I'm running out of time for this class, but there will be more speaking this week, and of course, lots more classes like this in the future. So make sure to keep coming back and practice with each other. So you can reach out to anybody. First, send them a message. Say, hey, would you like to practice some speaking? By the way, there are speaking questions right here. So notice these, like it says, objects, people, places, events. When you click on that, you get some questions here, okay? So there are your questions. Remember to join our premium package on our website by clicking this big red button, okay? So get our full IELTS course. For general IELTS, it's this green background. Click that big red button there. It's really worth it. It's a fraction of your IELTS exam costs, and you give yourself a much better chance of getting that high score. The higher your score in the IELTS, the better your application for university and for immigration. So remember, it's not just a good idea to get a passing score, but you want to get a high score as possible. So that's why you should use materials like this. I will be back tomorrow with writing for members and reading for everyone. So be sure to join me tomorrow for those classes. Okay, that's it for now, everyone. Make sure to give Bakrat and all of our volunteers for this class a nice applause. Give them a thumbs up. They're very, very brave for sharing their English. It's very challenging, I can only imagine, to volunteer in front of hundreds of people on a live class like this in another language. It's extremely brave. It's a great way to build confidence. So come back, do it again, and thank you so much for being with me here today. Eugen, love those emojis. Thank you. That's fantastic. Enjoy the rest of your day. If it's late in your country, get some good sleep, and much love to wherever you are in this beautiful world that we get to share with each other. Bye for now, everyone. I'm Adrian, signing out from Victoria. Bye-bye.